Oh, today you guys are going to learn about dotted notes and how to make a beatbox video game sound. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is dots. So basically we know our half note gets 2 beats and our quarter note gets 1 beat. So if it adds half of its value, which by the way is the answer to number 1, it would add half of 2, which is 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So a dotted half note gets 3 beats, which is the answer to number 2. The next thing is if you have a dotted quarter note, and a quarter note gets 1 beat, so half of 1 beat is a half, or a eighth note. So basically, a dotted quarter note is 1 plus a half, which is 1.5 beats. So the answer number 3, 1.5 beats. So how that would work with music, let me see if I can find my next slide right here, is a dotted quarter note rhythm is a rhythm you hear a lot in rock music and hip hop music. And so what happens is because it gets 1.5 beats, the next note would be on the end of 2. So what that would sound like is this: 1, 2, and 3, 4. And on Beatbox, how you would do that is, let me make a spot where there's no sounds. So if this is my quarter note here, which is 1 beat, these are the beats, the quarter notes. If I add half of a block, that's 1.5 blocks. So let me see if I can make a rhythm that we just clapped sound like this: 1, 2, and 3, 4. Or let me get the play button right here. So it gets kind of a cool rhythm going. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. What types of sounds should you choose for a video game? So the blue part is our melody, and that should be a square wave, which is under the retro presets. By the way, little bonus question, what's retro mean? Well, it means kind of old school. So if you had an 80s vintage sweater, another name for like vintage, retro. So that's what I used for that sound. Let's take a look at the next one. What's another name for the shape of the melody? Okay, we're going to talk about melody for a second. I'm going to create a new slide here. Melody has a shape or contour to it that goes up and down notes. So I'm going to use eighth notes because it sounds good with this song. And what I like to do is I hear the note as it's being played in my head, and if I don't like the note, I might change the direction I'm going in. So I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to go back down. So I'm just kind of creating a shape to the melody. So this is what I have so far. Sounds kind of too busy to me. So now I'm going to vary the rhythm a little bit. So I have that dotted quarter note thing. I'm going to come in the middle of the block. I'm going to do the same thing when I get to this measure. So now I've got, and then I'm going to do something like a video game effect. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you hit 2 notes next to each other at the same time, you get that kind of cool video game sound. You can throw that in there occasionally in your song. It sounds kind of cool. Don't do it too much because it's kind of like food and spices with too much ketchup on your hamburger. It's not going to taste very good. So that's my melody that I have, or shaper. And by the way, another name for the shape of the melody is contour. So contour is the answer to number 5. I gave you the answer to number 6. So your snare should be on beats 2 and 4. So I have this really cool snare beat thing I'm going to show you for video game sounds. So normally when you do a snare drum beat, it comes up looking like this or this. So let's put it on beats 2 and 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, you have to count the beats where the block starts. So what I'm going to do is put my mouse here and make each one longer. So it fills up the whole quarter note. And then I'm going to put my mouse somewhere in the middle and drag down. I think it's right past the middle point. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating this kind of effect. Why don't I drag it all the way down and see what happens? And so it's going to have like a swoosh effect. Oops, it doesn't like that, so I'm going to make it longer. There we go. Okay, so now my snare drum has this really cool sound. That's one of the requirements. The other sound that I use is a pad, and a pad is just a long note, and they should start on the brown. Another thing I forgot to tell you is your melody should start on the brown notes, because the brown is the key of the song. So I'm going to do just some long notes. Let's see what I got so far. Okay, I have a video game song that I created that I'll play for you so you can check it out. Okay, that's the end of my song. At number 7, you can have fun and guess what the name of the song is, but part 2 is your assignment we'll do in class. But if you're at home, this is how I'm grading your song, so be sure to read it. It should be 3 parts, a harmony, a melody, drums. It should have a contour. It should have some video game songs, which we learned how to do those effects just a second ago. And make sure you pass in your song at the end right here. So you just copy and paste it right there. Have fun.